Hi, welcome to the channel. My name's Sam, and today we're going to be taking a look at another haul. So majority of this haul did come from West Coast Avengers. Dave over there does run a bi-weekly live sale, as you can see there. This particular sale was a Halloween sale. It's called a quote-unquote graveyard sale, to where some of the rounds during the live sale was 30% off. He also does 4 for $5 books during these sales. Yeah, just keeping the community alive and well here. Supported Dave and got some books through him. I also do have a couple of books that I did pick up from the local shop. We'll also take a look at those. But first and foremost, give a shout out to Dave, and we're going to take a look at the books I picked up from him first. All right, so here we go. All right, first book I wanted to take a look at is the Dark Horse Presents 31. Dark Horse Presents is something that I pick up and collect a lot of. As you guys are aware, I like anthology books. This is one of the best anthology books that you can buy, just a variety of different stories and artists. Right off the bat, you get Mignola, Hellboy. Yeah, so one of the reasons why I picked up this specific issue right here, good old Nexus, Steve Rude. Picked up a couple of different Steve Rude items for my collection. So this was just one of them that was on my list. I knew that there was a Nexus story in this Dark Horse Presents. Finally was able to find it, so I went ahead and snagged this one up. And then we got a Jeff Darrow back cover. Can't go wrong with that. We got Hulk 345, Todd McFarlane. What else can you say about this? This is one of the most iconic covers that's ever been produced. All of Todd's, a majority of his covers, during his Marvel run here during this time are all iconic. And I think if you were to make a list of like the top 10 most iconic comic book covers of all time, he would probably have a handful of covers on there easy. Classic Hulk 345. I'm a fan of outlaw books, so we got good old Tim Vigil here, Faust, Book of M. So I do have the trade paperback reprint. I don't know, they put out a couple years ago of Faust. The K-Fabers did have some involvement in there. I have that. We'll definitely take a look at Outlaw comics at some point in time. I'm a big fan of Outlaw comics, so, I have Faust, I got Elizabeth Bathory, Kabuki, so on and so forth, The Crow. So, definitely make a video on Outlaw comics, and you guys can take a look forward to that, because if you're not familiar with Tim Vigil, Faust, or just Outlaw comics in general, be prepared. ASM 133. A majority of these books that I did purchase are strictly for cover reasons. Not all of them, but a majority of them is because of that. I'm in the process of framing up a bunch of stuff to kind of hang up around the house. So I've just been collecting up some cool covers and whatnot. So this is something that kind of snagged my eye. Again, just more of a visual thing. Super crisp cover. All right, The Exploits of Junior Carrot Patrol. Flaming Carrot is something that I'm a fan of. It's one of those weird 80s black and white comics. When I look at this, I see a lot of Switchblade Shorties sort of style that Ed Piskor does. So I wonder if that was kind of an influence on him a little bit, because that's what I see here with this. And I know that Switchblade Shorties was more or less kind of a play on Peanuts. So, Schultz definitely there was a big influence on Ed. But I wonder if the Junior Carrot there had any influence. All right, 5 Little Comics by Scott McCloud. These are just 5 mini comics that he had put out. I had to look through these. Scott McCloud isn't one of those guys that's high on my list of creators, artists, writers, that's involved with comics. But when you do see stuff of his pop up, it's very rare that you do see it, so I try to grab it and at least try to give it a chance. It's kind of an oddball thing, just 5 random mini comics enclosed in here. They're strange. I'm not too sure if I'm going to hold on to this. I might end up selling this guy. Punisher Ashcan, Joe Kubert cover. This Ashcan is kind of interesting. It just kind of has like a synopsis, I guess, of the character in general, just kind of gives background on the Punisher. So it's a weirder Ashcan, but this cover is the main reason why I had picked this up. Joe Kubert, master. Doom 2099. The 2099 series, there's only a handful of books in it that I actually enjoyed that I think has both good writing and art in it. A majority of the 2099 books I think have good art, but Ghost Rider 2099 and Doom 2099 have both. And Ghost Rider 2099, I think, is the best 2099 series, and then followed up by Doom 2099, maybe Spider-Man, but Hulk 2099, and there's a couple other ones that are out there that are pretty questionable, I think, in quality. So if you ever do see Ghost Rider or Doom 2099, these are definitely worth your time and money. Iceman 1 through 4 and the whole miniseries. So I have an interesting relationship, I guess, with Iceman and ice characters in general. I think that comes from watching, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. The ice guy there I really like a lot, and as well I can't remember his name, but the ice dude from Incredibles. I don't know why, but visually, I always liked them, and I always liked this gimmick to where they're like creating a walkway or a slide. I always liked how that looked, and a lot of people give this crap online, especially with his ice slide. People talk garbage on. I don't know. I think he's kind of cool. Again, I'm a big visual guy. These came out in '84, but visually, and especially with the colors, they remind me of a lot of early '90s comic. With just how vibrant the colors are with it. It's not digital printing, so you got to give them, especially this cover here. This is crazy. The pinks on that. The magenta is super vibrant there. Iceman 1 through 4. Good stuff. Legend of the Dark Knight Sanctum. Dan Raspler, Mike Mignola. Mike Mignola is probably a top 10 guy for me, if not a top 5 guy for me. Anything I see of Mike Mignola I don't already have, I snatch up. What else can you say about the guy? What if the Punisher's family hadn't been killed? I've been going down a weird rabbit hole with these what if books. What if books is something I've been getting into recently. If you're not familiar with them, they're just weird scenarios to where exactly what that is. What if X, Y, and Z had happened? It's kind of alternate history, fun little book that they make. ASM 375. Got Bags here. He's not one of my favorite artists. It's one of those things that I'm a big 90s guy. The covers get me. Again, I'm kind of in a mode right now to where I'm collecting a lot of books strictly just for the cover art to hang up in the house. And this was just one of those books here. Jetsons, number 1. So this is something that's been on my list for a very long time. As you guys are aware, I'm a big Hanna-Barbera fan, especially the old classic cartoons. Jetsons is one of those. These Gold Key comics you never see, especially these early Jetson comics. I did have to pay up for this. Dave did cut me a deal on it, so I do appreciate that. If you ever do see these Jetsons books, they are not cheap, so just be aware of that. I'm definitely going to get this framed, graded, something like that, because it is a little beat up. Spine's a little beefed up here, and I think this was graded at like a 2. Yeah, so it's definitely really beat up, but it's a kid's comic. And that's what you're going to run into, especially from these comics from the 60s. They got used and abused, read very well, and kids aren't going to take care of their comics. So it's amazing that I'm even holding this in my hand to begin with. Yeah, these Gold Key comics, a lot of them, Jetsons, Flintstones, the cartoon superhero specials that they make. I collect all of those, and this was, again, one of those ones that I've been looking for a long time, and when I saw that Dave was selling it, I hopped on it. All right, Turtles, Return to New York, Book 2. I am still missing the first book of this. Turtle books are one of those things that are getting, as you're saying, a theme with this, harder and harder to find. Anytime I go to a comic shop, it doesn't matter which one it is. You walk in and go to the Turtle section, there is very rarely anything in it. Most of it is going to be like the IDW sort of stuff, but when it comes to the Mirage books, even upwards to the Archie books, they're getting harder and harder to find. Archies aren't super expensive, but the Mirage books, they're getting pricier and pricier and pricier as time is going on. Saw that Dave was selling this one. I've never seen this out in the wild anywhere, and this thing is incredible condition. It's a 9.6, and that's one of the things that I can't speak on with Dave is the guy knows his grading. I've been in comics, or have been collecting comics for 15, 20 years roughly now, So I've seen the gambit of people who think they know their gradings, grade things certain ways, and you kind of look at it like, I don't know about that one guy. Every single one of these books that he had graded himself and did not send off to get graded or whatever, they were all accurate. So if you ever do or thinking about buying anything from Dave, you can trust his word on that stuff. All right, Famous Monsters 147 Warren magazines. I collect pretty much any Warren magazine. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's something that is in my wheelhouse. Monster movies. About to grab my coffee cup so I can show you what I'm drinking here. Some coffee and Universal Monsters. So there you go. So I'm a big monster guy, especially the old Universal Monsters. And then, of course, Eerie, Creepy, Vampirella, so on and so forth. All Warren magazines, the Spirit reprints, all that stuff, all Warrens. I'm a big Warren guy. It's just what it is. One of the reasons why I did pick this up, besides the dope-ass cover, this is from, I think it's from 78. Yeah, September of 78. Star Wars is still relatively new at this point in time, and not a lot of people have seen it yet. So there's an interview in here with the main cast. So we got Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford getting interviewed by, somebody at Warren. And they're just super generic questions, to be honest with you. Just kind of like, oh, was it fun to work on Star Wars? Blah, blah, blah. It's kind of interesting just to see their perspectives because it hasn't blown up yet completely. So, it's very quaint in the fact that, we'll see how it goes. Harrison Ford was being Harrison Ford in this interview, where he was just kind of talking about how people take movies nowadays too serious. This is just a fun, goofy, over the top. He called it a road trip movie, essentially, which he's not wrong, but little did he know what Star Wars was going to become. That's why I thought it was kind of interesting, because they haven't hit that, Star Wars is a big deal yet. So kind of interesting. All right, so that was everything that I wrapped up that I had purchased from Dave. So again, the sales that he does on YouTube, you kind of just jump in there. He has like a whole wall set up. You kind of, it's more or less a dibs sort of thing. He puts them up on the wall. You grab them in the chat, and he signs them off and mails them to you. It's kind of like a weird, it's not like an auction environment, but it's definitely like a first come, first serve sort of deal. So it's kind of fun. Get to hang out, know people in the chat and whatnot. His comic knowledge it's amazing. And then as well, his grading and everything like that is accurate. So recommend to check Dave out. Dave also has an eBay page, so be sure to check that out as well. Okay, so we're going to move to things that I picked up from the local comic shop. We got a number 2 of 3 for Masters of the Universe. I'm a big Motu guy. I collect the figures. This is something that I see in passing every once in a while. It's really never snagged it up. This thing is in a, it's a fine to very fine condition. Usually see these beat up, especially with like dog earring on the ends. So I went ahead and picked it up with the price and condition that it was at. It's kind of hard to pass on. I'm going to be doing a Christmas episode coming up. So I've been snatching up a couple of Christmas themed books. Yeah, so Sabrina is one of those things in the Archie world. There's a million books in them. I like the art, so snag these up. All right, Silver Surfer, 1, 2, 4, 5, and 10. Silver Surfer is a badass character. What else can you say about Silver Surfer that already hasn't been said? A majority of the reason why I did purchase these again, throw them into frames, kind of look at them. Comic Shop did not have a number 3, so I am missing that. Silver Surfer, I think I jumped way ahead from 5 to 10 because look at this. What else can, look at that cover. Just crazy. Yeah, Silver Surfer is kind of an obscure character, I guess. I really enjoy everything with Silver Surfer. I like the cosmic stuff that Marvel had done, during around this time, especially the Kirby and the Kirby stuff. It's like this character, like Silver Surfer, seems so 90s to me. Definitely ahead of his time. Another Dark Horse Presents. This is going to be number 33. Just picked it up because it's got another appearance of Nexus there. Grabbed another Kabuki issue. We got Kabuki issue 1, Circle of Blood, Act 1. I was categorizing Kabuki as bad girl comics. I take that back. These are outlaw comics. After reading this one, there's some stuff that goes down in this book. If you have not read this and you have, like Outlaw in general, or you have a strong stomach, I'll leave it at that. Pick this up. This is one of those books where I read it and it was one of those things like, what did I just read? I was stunned by it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to keep buying them. I'll leave it at that. The Shadow from the 70s. These are something that's been on my list for a very long time. I constantly go through the S's and DC stuff, back at issue bins, trying to find these. Found the number 4 issue. This is the only one of this series I have found, so when I do see them, I'm gonna grab them. The Shadow is one of those characters where he probably is a little outdated. Obviously, there aren't many things that get done with him nowadays. I put him in that same category as like a Dick Tracy, to where they're characters that started around the same time. They really don't have mainstream relevance nowadays. But I'm gonna try to bring them back. I love the Shadow. I love Dick Tracy. They're different things. Obviously, Dick Tracy is a little more cartoony and whatnot. The Shadow is a little more serious. That 1930s serial, radio style. I don't know why, but it just really speaks to me, and I love those. So the Shadow. Speaking of the dude, I picked up some Future Quest that had Space Ghost in it. This one here, he had done the cover for. This is his Space Ghost. On this cover, I want to say that there's 2 different artists on it, because this right here, the Space Ghost, that's for sure Steve Rude. This drawing in the back is not. So I'm pretty sure that there's 2 cover artists on this. Yeah, see, they said there's 2. Yep, good old Space Ghost, can't go wrong. Then I grabbed a Curtis, Marvel, however you want to look at it, Planet of the Apes mag number 5. Digging through the magazines, Planet of the Apes isn't really something that I'm really interested in personally. I thought the cover was really cool. Being a big fan of Steve Rude, this sort of illustrated paint style, I've taken a big liking to. So I've been kind of, I guess, studying more this style of art to kind of expand my horizons a little bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up today. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.